Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah.
Melanated!
Welcome to today's episode of Morning Tea, where we sit in our sleepwear and discuss current events. Today's tea is no tea. I'm gonna be real with you. I already have my tea. It's hot. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't even, I'm sweating. So I'm sweating throughout the whole video. So, that's life. No tea, but All right, guys, so let's jump right in. Last week, I didn't end up doing a morning tea video because I did the, okay, SheaMoisture video, which I will have linked up above if you want to see that. Thank you guys so much for sharing it or whatever, because that video got so many views, girl. I'm not used to that. I was like, 9,000? Who am I? Here's the tea. Okay, so I did the SheaMoisture video last week, and since then, so my sister sent me a video on Friday of The Breakfast Club where the owner of SheaMoisture was on the show. I think his name is Rich Dennis, which I'm like, if that's not a black man's name, I don't know what is. Dennis, what am I gonna call you now that you have all this money? Call me Rich Dennis. I reserve the right to be a person who changes their opinion and has evolution in their words and thoughts and feelings. Last week I reported on what happened with SheaMoisture, how all of a sudden they came out with this commercial, which they're now saying wasn't a commercial, where it featured 3 women, 2 of them being white women, one with blonde, one with red hair, the other one being a maybe biracial black girl, I'm not sure, but with long curly, talking about hair hate and how their experiences with hair and how they've hated their hair, and now, finding products that help them live their natural life has been beautiful or whatever. And that product being SheaMoisture, which is weird because SheaMoisture is normally a black brand or a black hair care brand, which, as you know, black hair is definitely different than white hair. And also the way it's received in the media and in out in the world, in America, it's received differently, right? So there was that controversy that it felt like SheaMoisture had turned their back on the black women, on the black community, especially when they were a community that really helped build SheaMoisture. And so Rich Dennis went out, hit the pavement, went on a couple shows, and basically just talked about this controversy. In this interview with The Breakfast Club, Dennis really broke something down to me, and he had a couple points that I was like, you know what, sir, you're right. One of the points he made was, we made a mistake and we're very sorry for it, but to turn your backs on us so quickly from one mistake, was a little hurtful. He didn't say it in those exact words, but that's how I felt. That's what I got from him. And I think he's right. People are allowed to make mistakes. Black people, companies, whatever, they're allowed to make mistakes. And I think that, the black backlash from this was heavy and steep and fast and quick, and they felt, SheaMoisture, and he felt personally, that it was so quick to shun him and to boycott and all these things before he can even come out with an explanation or an apology. But like I said in the video, SheaMoisture doesn't owe me anything, and I don't owe SheaMoisture anything. So it was never really like I needed an apology. I more so wanted an explanation. And I'm still thinking, like, whoever did that is still tone deaf. Like, whoever filmed these women talking about hair, that whole bit was tone deaf. So I think that SheaMoisture is going to really need to make sure that they have sort of a social, what a position be in a company if you were the person to tell the company, no, the blacks are going to be mad. No, the Hispanics are going to find that offensive. Honestly, and this is just me, I'm not saying it's you or it has to be you, if those 2 women, the blonde and the redhead lady, were in a commercial about SheaMoisture talking about their dry skin, I wouldn't have felt any kind of way. I think it's specifically that they're in a video talking about hair care and hair hate and SheaMoisture. And those 2 things don't seem to go together. But if they started to open up their marketing and open up their branding and open up who they are as a company to cater to everyone, I think doing it makeup-wise and doing it lotion-wise and body care-wise is the way to go. But hair care, leave that to black women, because that is, you're making products for our hair type, right? Another thing that he mentioned, which is I guess point number 2 or 3, I'm not sure where I'm at, but he mentioned the fact that a lot of beauty and black hair care companies are no longer black owned. And a lot of black people get upset or mad at the families who end up selling to bigger conglomerates, bigger umbrella companies, right? And he's saying that he would like to keep SheaMoisture black owned because as the owner, he's 51%. 49% is Bain Capital, right? But that is the company that is going to feed SheaMoisture money so that they can continue to grow and do the things they need to do. Because otherwise there's no funding. He can, year after year, before he got with Bain Capital, he had to take millions of dollars and put it back into the company. And at some point, that does not become profitable. You need extra capital to build and propel a company forward. And so he had to open up. up. He had to sell a piece of it to a firm, an investment firm. That's what all businesses do. And a lot of times Black business owners just end up selling the whole thing, taking a lump sum so that they can have some legacy and family money and move it on to the next generation, where he's trying to do both, move it on to the next generation, also still stay a family-owned business, still stay a Black-owned business. And to that point, I think he's true, because everyone's stating like, oh, the Black woman's hair care industry is $1 billion industry, so he doesn't have to sell out. Yes, it's $1 billion industry, but most of those people who own them are not Black. Let's say L'Oreal. L'Oreal, and I don't know this to be true, but L'Oreal, right, is a giant company. L'Oreal may own Cream of Nature, As I Am, and Carol's Daughter. Don't know any of this to be true. They may own all of that, right? So they have the money to keep on pumping into it. They have the money to keep on, as long as these companies are profitable, which they are, they have the extra capital to keep pumping into it, right? So SheaMoisture wouldn't have that, because he's not L'Oreal. He's one guy. So he needs to have an investment company, have stock in the company in order to keep the company pumping and making products. And that, to me, makes the most sense, and I understand why you would do that. Again, I still think that there needed to be more time thought about who they were going to market to, what products. I really feel like someone should have said, no, hair care needs to stay with Black women. And if we do open it up to other audiences, we can do that, but it doesn't need to be a campaign on it, right? We can do SheaMoisture commercials where we have an Asian woman putting on lotion, but those women don't have to be white, because there's lots of different women in this world who aren't white who can sell a product. That's just my thing. You know, we're at a time where like, we're very aware of what's happening in this community and in our culture in America specifically when it comes to, you know, relations and the status quo. And we're into breaking those boundaries and be doing something new. And we can't do that if we still keep falling back on the same tropes. Here's the tea. All right. So Aaron Hernandez was some sort of football player for the Patriots. And I remember a couple years ago, he like killed people. Aaron Hernandez killed himself in his jail cell last week. Many people were speculating that he killed himself because if he did, then his daughter would get the rest of his estate through the NFL. I don't know. Don't know how that works, but that happened. Oop. Here's the tea. All right, so Bill O'Reilly lost the O'Reilly factor because he had way too many sexual harassment charges against him. You know, I wish this would really just come out into the light, because they dragged Bill Cosby. I need for a dragging of Bill O'Reilly, but I know that Fox News is going to protect him, because in protecting him, they're protecting themselves. And it sucks that he doesn't get to lose all his money and lose all his legacy over this. So there's that. Here's the tea. Another update. So the Tennessee, you know, the teen who ran off with her teacher, or the teacher who stole the teen? I don't know which way it's going. But anyways, they were found with the teacher. They were found, I think they were found in California, if I'm not mistaken, and arrested. So the girl got sent back to her family and the man is in jail. So that happened. Here's the tea. So Ja Rule and his friend decided they were going to put on some elitist festival in Bahamas last week that completely fell through. It was called the Frey Festival, and it's supposed to be all these great acts, and tickets for this festival started at $1,200, and it was supposed to be all catered on this island and beautiful, and like only rich people and rich upcoming millennials and elite. And they didn't have anything when people showed up. People showed up or didn't show up. Caterers didn't show up. Like, the whole entire scene was just so unorganized, and it was not at all what the people were expecting. And then they tried to say that they weren't going to do refunds, but then they had to because of all the social media outcry. So like, they're going to do refunds and give people back their money, supposedly. So the people who were there, who showed up and nothing actually was catered, and they just got some like salami and bread like as their food. They were supposed to have like delicacies, and like the whole weekend was supposed to be catered, and all the food and drink was free. And it ended up not having that at all. The whole site wasn't even set up. There were barely any tents put up. There was definitely no stages put up. And people were like, we want our money back. So they wrote their names on a piece of paper before like leaving. I'm like, you're not getting your money back. You wrote your name on a piece of paper. You're not getting nothing back. Here's the tea. Okay, so people are a little upset that Obama is making $200,000 for speaking engagements. I don't understand why. I need to do more research, and obviously I think the Obamas can do no wrong, so of course I'm just like, they can make as much money as they want. And I wouldn't actually feel any way if any other former presidents were making that money speaking at things. They're former presidents, like, pay them. They did a lot. I mean, being a president is really hard, as Donald Trump now has realized. Being a president is really hard. He didn't think it was going to be as hard. That's another thing. He didn't think it was going to be as hard. That's so hilarious. Here's the tea. It was also the Correspondents dinner this weekend that Trump did not go to, neither did anyone in his administration. So they just got roasted. Like, this is the first time, I think I told you guys a couple weeks ago, since like 1940 something, that a president hasn't gone to the White House Correspondents dinner. And as you know, the White House Correspondents dinner is basically a dinner, a celebration, an award show for all the exceptional journalism that has happened throughout the last year. So 2016, and the president didn't show up. And he usually does. You know, it's a fun affair, you know, but this president thinks that the media is all liars, so he felt he shouldn't go to it, and it was just really tacky, in my opinion. So, okay, guys, so that's it for this episode. I do not have any world news this week. I didn't look into it, and, you know, sometimes you just gotta take a break from world news, you know? Just gotta take a break from politics just a little bit. So obviously that bit on SheaMoisture was very long, and thank you so much for sitting through this video. All right, you guys have a fantastic day. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them down below. All right, bye.